В предишния епизод на Камифуда, професор Ихарам ме привика в своя офис, за да ми сподели ситуацията относно разследването на ръцете. Изглежда, че те са усетили, че нещо нередно се случва в Гломрод. Реших да бъда открит към човека, който ме извади от клетката в бледните градини и му доверих своята тайна, че неволно пътувам във времето. Люн продължава да не се храни и да линее пред очите ми. Според Еви и Викс, такива прояви не са изключение при него, но аз самият знам, че се случва нещо по-дълбоко. Изглежда, че не всичко се оправя с дуел на Камифуда. Продължаваме напред с остатъка от приключението. Завърших май всички карти, които мога да си купя. Поне не съм виждал други скоро. Residence. I jolt awake from a light afternoon nap. My limbs practically scream in pain. Iharam's extensive training regimen has me feeling sorer than ever in my life. Worse still, I'm fairly sure he's only going to ramp up the difficulty with a damned smile on his face, most likely. Roll out of bed, begrudgingly, to answer the unwelcome visitor at my door. Good evening, Tarot. 3. Evening. Sorry, I was catching up on some sleep. There's no need to apologize, Tarot. I recognize you have been working quite arduously. You've no idea. Anyway, I suppose you're here about the echo catch. No. Not as of yet. I have actually come regarding your training regimen. Oh, I didn't miss a session, did I? Not at all. In fact, I have heard you've taken it upon yourself to seek extracurricular training. Commendable of you indeed. In truth, I came to inquire about your progress. I have reviewed your growth via the reports from other club members. Really? Vix actually submitted a report? She did not. Lun managed to sufficiently interrogate the truth of your sessions from her and submitted one in her place. I'll have to remember to thank him. In any case, I have reviewed what has been made available to me. And how am I doing? Astonishing. Oh, well, that's good, right? Indeed it is. Why do I feel like there's a but coming? Many new Pact Sworn spent years inoculating themselves within the Eldritch Arts before they become as capable at casting as you. Even taking into consideration the handicap provided by the Kamifuda cards themselves. I must admit I'm a bit perplexed. Your progress makes no tangible sense to me, not unless there's a factor of which I'm yet unaware. A factor? Yes. I spent many years garnering the skill set and knowledge I currently possess. And that includes my proficiency within the Kamifuda ritual. I see where you're coming from. I don't mean to invalidate your progress by any means, Tree. No, you misunderstand me. If you found some edge, some method to a faster accumulation of power, I would not admonish you. In fact, I would find such a trait admirable. Did she just blush? 3? Still, I would know your secret. If nothing else, for the sake of my own progress. Progress as you steadily ascend to catch me. My secret? My secret is every time I fail, the world bursts into flames and darkness, and I'm flung back unwittingly to do it all over again. My secret is that I'm living on the edge of a knife, hoping I don't slip and accidentally chop something off. Answer her cautiously. It's dangerous to reveal too much. Look, Tree, I want you to know that I want to be honest with you, truly. And in the spirit of that, your suspicions aren't unjustified. There is something about me, in me, that has given me an edge of sorts. Among other things. But I'm sorry. To speak too candidly could mean I risk. Say no more, Tarot. I understand. And I thank you for alleviating my suspicions as much as you are able. In any case, reports are second-hand information. Reliable only as much as their author. It has been some time since I tested your metal myself. And if our fellows are to be believed, I needn't hold back nearly as much as our previous encounter. So come, Tarot, let us see how you compare to a fuller view of my sacromancy. I don't know. Let's see. Добре, тя ще има някаква брутална кръв според мен, оттам ще тръгне. Но ето това тесте мисля, че се справих предния път, сега ще пробвам пак с него. Да видим. 100 кръв, чудесно. Супер честно. Супер честно е това. Искам да ви обясня, че това е сигурно един от просто честните дуелисти, срещу който играя. Добре, Gain Sacrilege 5 вместо 6. Страхотно. О, да, бейбе. Да, бейбе. Да, бейбе. Да, бейбе. Колко пъти имахме тази карта? 4. Това не е ли почти честно? Inhibit 9. О, бой, о, бой. О, бой, о, бой. Аз имам предостатъчно карти, които да играя. Мисля, че ще трябва да изгърмя нейни точки. Вампиризъм 2. Draw 4 spells and discard all non-zero cost spells drawn this way. Окей, вампиризъм Unbreakable. Мамо. Така, Ritualizer не. Със сигурност ми трябва нещо, което да ми даде някакъв превес. Gain 3 Influence е може би нещо, което ще е добре. Тя ще ме убие следващия ход с тия 5. Другото е, че тя може да си позволи брутално много кръв, тъй като има супер много просто. 11, това е безобразие. Това е безобразие просто. Това е безобразие, тя може да ме довърши. Лут 4 резерв. За жалост нямам двойка. Може би най-разумният ход е така да изтегля двойка. Legendary Veil, Unbreakable, вампиризъм. Друго си е 28 с вампиризъм, няма проблем. Добре, инхибит 9. Между другото ще ми нанесе някакъв демидж, ма няма да е толкова брутално. Часовникът тик-така за нея в някаква степен. You're pulling from my own reserve again. Astute. Let us see how long can you resist. Може би един ход ще ми трябва още. 18 инхибит. Тя може ли да направи така, че въобще да не мога да играя карти? I mean, it's kinda possible. Двайсе. Аз ще нанеса първи удар. 8 резерв. Двайсет едно. Мисля, че мога да си го позволя. You are surprisingly adept with pyromancy. Let's just say I'm familiar with fire. Уф, това заболя. 9 инхибит може да няма никакво значение всъщност. Тя се опита да ме набие с инстантите. О, вау, имам голям шанс да я бия. Бих я. О, не я бих. Не, може би имам голям шанс. Бих я. Бих я. Бих я на 0 е. Still there, Tarot? Yep, still there. Окей. Много добре. The first plague ritual legendary finality completes gain Oxygram 3. Whenever you take damage, take additional 3 damage. Уф. Completes gain the first plague. Whenever you take damage, gain 1 energy. Oh, wow. Wow. Oh, wow. Тая е абсурдно брутална карта. Трябва да я пробвам някой път. She watches the last card fall in silence. Tree is far from exhausted. In fact, unlike me, she is hardly broken sweat. It seems the others did not exaggerate. Your aptitude for the ritual is astounding given your limited experience with it. I would estimate you'll surpass all of the others in mere weeks, if you have not done so already. I'll take those as compliments. As you should. Despite what some philosophers might have you believe, the power is to be coveted. Power is both the authority and the fuel for all change in this, our meager world. Without it, we stagnate. Change is a necessity. It is simply an unfortunate truth that only those with the strength to enforce their will upon the others decide our course. Rightful or otherwise. 3. I hope you don't mind me asking, but how did you become interested in all of this anyway? The others in the club, they are all strong, and their decks are absolutely nuts at times. But when I'm fighting you, I feel like I'm watching a lion try to pull me without its claws. Not to mention I'm fairly sure you've bruised me all over. Kamifuda is an ancient rite of the Pact Sworn. It is interesting in and out of itself, but if you require an additional move, Motive. My course of study and main interest, sacromancy, is largely restricted at Glomrod. In fact, it's heavily restricted to the point of taboo in most of the Paxuan world. There are a few exceptions, however, one of which includes the ritual of Kamifuda. Sacromancy is one of the core pillars of the rite, having been a regularly practiced discipline at the time of Kamifuda's inception. As such, practice of sacromancy in service of this particular tradition is looked upon more favorably. A bit of a loophole, if you will. The logic is sound, yet I can't shake the feeling Tree's putting on a face. The problem is, somewhere along the road, she clearly picked the wrong card game to invest in. I'm fairly sure Tree could be a world champion poker player if she only stumbled into a game. She couldn't manifest a tail if she tried. That's really the only reason. You wanted to study sacromancy? Who can say with confidence they know the entirety of their own motivations? A community of study such as Kamifuda Club offers many benefits. Peers of similar interests, for example. You mean friends? If you say so. In any case, we've gotten distracted. My intention was to measure your progress, and I have done so. Your initial concern was spell control, no? Your aptitude in that area is head and shoulders above our last encounter. I would venture the pale host have little reason to bar your continuance at the university. You've improved in a matter of weeks what takes some years to accomplish. What are you saying? I'm saying we can likely discontinue your supervision. I believe you are competent enough to oversee your own progress from now on. Yet, very much unlike her, I'm not great under a pressure cooker. I've still no concept of how to control my little excursions through time, and I seriously doubt less training is the answer. I am glad for your faith, but I haven't been able to reach the goals I set out with this training. I'd like to continue for now, for the rest of the break anyway. Unless your goals are to usurp me as the university's strongest duelist, I'm not sure your logic is sound. I try to start about 3 sentences in a row, all of which end with stuttered words and awkwardly droning noise from somewhere deep in my throat. Very well. I can see the subject is sensitive. I'll advise the others to continue your training for now. As before, I've little time to devote, though I shall check in when I can. She leaves me with a quick farewell, in a veritable hurry to venture deeper into Glomrod's damp and dark recesses. I know the others have mentioned having other activities that occupy their time, but she's the only club member that seemed busy to the point of absenteeism, well beside Ihram, I suppose. And unlike the others whom I sometimes run into when venturing through the old hallway, I almost never see Tree around campus, except of course near the broken seal. I've ignored that place for far too long. The seal to the Forbidden Wing broke just days before Trent was killed, and I'm tired of believing in coincidences. Tomorrow I make for the Forbidden Wing, and whatever the accursed place might bring upon me. Ой, нека да видим. Забраненото крило. Директно Ще отидем на там, между другото. Вау, окей. Една от две карти. Дека проме водната. Събрал съм много, между другото, карти. В този етап. Земя. Това е нещо ново, което не съм виждал все още. Много интересно. Я да видим центъра по изкуства. Къде то си е магазина, нали, в крайна сметка. Добре, имам доста нови карти. Нека тръгнем от Пароксизъм Divinity 1, ако удари опонента. Това не е толкова зле. Pre-Strike 7, това е страхотна карта, между другото. Само заради Pre-Strike. Hits Opponents Gains Influence 1. Ruination. Sorcery Gains Inhibit 3, Gain Inhibition 3. Вау, това е доста кофти. Charge Draw 3 spells, Lose 5 Reserve. Това не е толкова зле. Deho Devour е приятна карта, между другото. И Sanctification Rites, Gain Divinity 2. Това не е толкова лош ритуал. Може би, ето тази. Opponents Gains Divinity 1. Не ми харесва, но пък е стена с 6. Демидж веднъж. Това също не е лош вариант. Vanguard 6. Ако е блокирана, опонента губи. Тази е уникална, между другото, и затова ще я взема, но не мисля, че ще я ползвам в някой момент. Earthwall, Sorcery, Unbreakable е окей. Абе, аз дали нямам за всички, що се мъча? Какво мисля? Backing Gloomrod. Някой път много ги мисля работите. Все едно, както е. Forbidden Wing. No more waiting. Every day I grow stronger, yet Trent grows colder in the ground. Rotting in some plot of soil I'm not even allowed to visit. I can't rely on Evi to do everything for me. Nor Loon, nor Ihram, and certainly not the Pale Host. This place, this seal, it shattered mere days before his death. That never felt right to me, and it's long overdue that I did something about it. I rest a hand against the old stone. There are creases where eldritch markings were carved into the stone. Creases which still hold a faint chill. Remnants, perhaps, of the ward cast so very long ago. I pry my fingers into the slim crack between the seal's doors. I've never been much of a brave sword. I'm scarcely a clever sword, and I think I'd be hard-pressed to find someone who'd claim me to be especially wise. But if nothing else, I'm bow-headed, which I suppose can be a virtue of sorts when breaking into dark places such as this. I try to push open the stone doors. The sheer weight of them is immense, as if trying to force open boulders pressed against one another. But a shudder ripples through the stone, and I feel them give purchase. The doors open into darkness. Darkness and dust. Oh my god, so much dust. Holy shit. I coughed so hard, I nearly hack out a lung. And then spent a good 30 seconds blinking 200 years old dust particles out of my eyes. Something tells me the custodial stuff doesn't make it to this wing. My voice echoes freely through the strange hall. The lighting is worse than dim with these ancient lanterns. The stone seems stagnant here. It is accompanied by supremely stale air. And the roots. The roots of the vacuous tree seem a bit more prevalent in this wing. I step into the dark, surprised by the thunder of my own steps in a place otherwise devoid of life. Best look around, I suppose. Though for what, I'm not entirely sure. My amateur sleuthing sinks me a good 30 minutes deeper into the forbidden wing. And although my nerves are sufficiently on edge, I find no evidence of recent activity, nor anything particularly dangerous or suspicious. Why lock a whole wing of the school anyway? Did Ainfel believe there was something so dangerous hidden here that the entire structure was forfeit? Or is it the wing itself that I should be wary of? I find myself peeking through a dusty window. It is quite similar to the architecture of Glomrod Lecture Hall and the eastern wings. I am trying to work out whether they would have held classes here when a sudden boom of voices nearly frightens my skeleton out of my skin. Assured us of their secure nature. The conversation is just down the hall, the very way I came. The voices are deliberate and focused, but I do not recognize them. That is until... As I stated before, the seal was broken some weeks ago. That said, traditionally, reputation keeps prying eyes away from this part of the grounds. Professor Ihram, and with someone else. The host will not be pleased. Another unfamiliar voice, this time a woman. I understand. The university, of course, will allow the hand-free reign to investigate this matter. The hand? Shit. I slip through the nearest door. The classroom I enter is small and forlorn. The floor seems to creak strangely beneath my feet, like gravel or loose stone. I nearly stop to investigate when the voices echo again, just a few doors down. I will crouch at the door and try to eavesdrop. Ще се опитам да подслушам. How many opportunities will I have to listen in on the hand? Seldom, I'm sure. I crouch behind the classroom door and press my ear to the wood. Their voices are muted, but just barely discernible. Harbor suspicion for the boy. And I've explained that your suspicions are unfounded. The boy has done well since he was brought here. Moreover, he displays a conscientiousness for those around him that is surely needed at this institution. Surely your investigative prowess would be better spent on other avenues. I sense a bit of irritation in your voice, Ihram. Do not forget your priorities. You are a servant of the Pale Host, as we are all. Should they command it, this whole dimension shall burn. In any case, we must focus on the task at hand. The old roots stir. The host fears we are on the precipice of an awakening. This cannot be allowed. Their voices are much louder now. They must be just steps from the classroom door. That's enough. Hide. I make a break for some kind of utility closet at the other end of the room. The stone tiles beneath me creak and crack, shifting beneath my feet, and as I step, nearly tripping me half a dozen times. And when I pull the closet open... Three! What the... A sound at the classroom door echoes through the room. Tree pulls me forcefully into the small closet, slapping a hand over my mouth. Quiet, they'll hear you. I try to murmur, but her grip is so tight. Through a small crack on the door, we watch Ihram and a pair of hooded figures peek their head into the room. I heard something. It was likely just the foundation shifting. Maintenance hasn't been completed on this wing in over 2 centuries. It is very literally falling apart. The robed figures begin to search the room regardless. I spot a soft glow from Tree's free hand. She casts something. In response to a loud creaking sound echoes from somewhere a few doors over. With prickled ears, Ihram and the members of the host leave in quick pursuit. Tree and I wait in perfect silence for at least a minute before she pulls her hand from my lips. What the hell are you doing here? Keep your voice to a whisper. Sound carries extraordinarily well in this place. My theory is the walls here are thinner. Just answer my question, damn it. It is no more suspicious for me to be in this place than you. Yet you treat me, who has just veritably saved you from those members of the hand, as enemy. I pinch the bridge of my nose. If I had a nickel for every non-answer someone gave me at this fucking school. Not this time. You've been snooping around the seal since I first arrived here. I want some answers. Quite demanding, aren't we? Yes, when I have to be. Is that a threat I perceive? It certainly... There's another shift of the stone beneath my feet. The pair of us freezes as a segment of the floor cracks between us. Oh shit! And we fall. Deep into an unrelenting dark. The stone is cold against my cheek, and my head aches. I prod my scalp, wince. Oh, my hair is slick to the touch. Careful, you hit your head on the way down. Standing among the darkness and rubble, Tree leans slightly against a nearby wall. She attempts to place a bit of weight on her left foot, but her face twists in pain. I try to sit up. The world spins for a moment before it settles into a somewhat digestible ooziness. What happened? We fell. From quite a way up, I believe. It appears the rumors of Glomrod having been built on ruins of an earlier institution are not so far-fetched. I look up. A slight draft graces the otherwise dark hallway, but if there is a ceiling, it is too dark and too far to see. You were out for quite a while. Yeah, I feel like it. Thanks for staying with me. Your thanks are unneeded. I didn't have much of a choice after all. She points at her left ankle. I can't seem to put much weight on it. I may need your assistance to traverse this place. Do you know the way out then? Not at all. And if my suspicions are correct, we have unwittingly found ourselves within the halls of the Famished One. The Famished One? An eldritch entity, one quite old and formidable, if the Pale Host records are to be believed. I have spent some time studying the circumstances of Glomrod's founding. There are discrepancies in the histories, and the pocket realm this university subsists within is markedly similar to the descriptions of scarcely mentioned grounds of worship. For the Famished One, I believe we currently reside in said grounds of worship. An eldritch temple, a relic of pact sworn from the era of classical antiquity, 6th century most likely. You are saying Glomrod was built on top of this place? I think we have literally fallen into that conclusion, Tarot, yes. Well, she's snippy today. Why would they build a university on an old temple to a forgotten god? A fine question, one worth asking. I'm not sure I know the answer, except to say, why does any civilization bury artifacts of one's history? Perhaps to ensure they remain forgotten. I try to stand and I'm thankfully successful. No injured limbs like 3. Though my head is still a bit woozy. Do you know how long I was out? I would guess just under an hour, though I haven't a watch to confirm. An hour? Ah, it will be getting late soon. Indeed. In addition, this place may prove vexing to navigate. Yeah, I'm worried about that too. Alright, let's get the move then. I toss one of 3's arms over my shoulder, and without question she leans her weak sides weight into me. I realize that what semblance of light we have are from small conjured wisps, courtesy of 3. With her magic and my working legs, we delve into the so-called famished one's maze of hallways. And a maze they are indeed. We spend nearly 2 hours limping through the dark, and all the while I cannot help but sense that we are being watched. Eventually we come to another hallway, ending with a rough, shodden collapse of rubble. I let out a tearing breath. Another dead end. I'm beginning to think we are going in circles. 3 hops off my shoulder to give me a moment's rest. I'm beginning to wonder the same. Either that or the holes are in such disrepair that navigation has become impossible. We may need to rethink our exit strategy. I level her an exasperated note and plop myself down upon the stone. Fine. In the meantime, I need to sit for a few minutes. My head is still pounding. Are you unwell? You look a touch pale. It's just my head. It will pass, hopefully. Here. She hobbles over over to me and sets her fingers upon my scalp ever so tenderly. A soft white light accompanies her touch. In moments, the pain dulls. Well, la-di-da, I hope you did that earlier the next time, I guess. And now? Better, thank you. Of course, Tarot. How's your leg? I have utilized a number of thaumaturgic bolstering rituals. You've no need to worry. I can continue moving as needed. I know that, Tree. I just mean, are you in much pain? Oh, I suppose yes. I'm sorry, I wish I could help. It's alright, your company has been beneficial as a distraction for the pain. I let out a small chuckle. Even in moments like this, she chooses her words so carefully. That fall, I look up into the darkness above. I'm glad you're alright, Tree. For a moment when I woke, I was worried that I feel the same. She rests with me for a moment in silence before continuing her exploration around the chamber. 3 hobbles around the enclosed hallway. We find ourselves trapped in as I realize I'm becoming quite thirsty. I watch her inspect a small divot in the wall. She dusts it off spotting another of the many runic symbols we've passed. This place, it's why you were snooping around in the Forbidden Wing, wasn't it? And the Broken Seal before that. That's correct. I think back on her initial experiments with the Echo Catch. She was testing the grounds for long lost memories. In your Echo Catch, were you searching for hints for directions to this place? Correct again. That was my original intention in creating this device. I have been searching for this place for a long while. Why? Why all the interest in these ruins? In times past, it is said that the halls of the Famished One served as both sanctuary and vestibule. Sanctuary to those who would not fathom to live in the cyclical struggles of a world abandoned by the Eldritch Ones. For although an Eldritch entity can never truly die, in many ways tarot they no longer live. Prophets past whom stared into the depths of the realm beyond claimed the Eldritch Ones. The Eldritch Ones once possessed the power to consume worlds, to descend upon any and everything at their unknowable whims. But the stars have long changed since then, moved at the perpetual discretion of time, and so the Eldritch One's strength slumbers, waiting for an inevitable return, to be liberated from their long death by hands outside their own. Thus came the time of the Pact Sworn. We are but fragile, temporary hands to govern their return. Three drifts off for a moment, looking once again about the chamber. My stomach is in knots, and I cannot place why. No, that's a lie. A lie to myself. I know why her musings make me uncomfortable. They sound fanatical, dogmatic and feverish all at once. Perhaps every word is truth, and I'm simply still too much of a layman in the Eldritch arts to accept it. But a part of me has to believe, even if it's absurd of me to do so, that worship of these things is still very much insane. And what of this vestibule? You said that this place was sanctuary and vestibule. Sanctuary for those who would seek the return of these things. Vestibule for what? Her face tones over. The Famished One. Or at least, its long dead heart. The Famished One is here? No, of course not. It is likely just a story, Tart. Like the tellings that Zeus and his Olympians reside on a mountain top over the Greek provinces. I wouldn't fret about it. But Zeus and his Olympians, as far as I know, aren't real. The Eldritch Ones though. I knew Evie was a bit of an Eldritch enthusiast. I hadn't realized you shared that with her. Evie knows much about the mythos, which is reasoned about the Pact Sworn throughout history. But these are the preserved works of some of the first of our kind. Those first chosen to undertake the sacrament of rousing an Eldritch One. Because they rightly recognize the value of its gaze. The calling of ascension to become something more than ourselves. More than ourselves? That is the goal of those who devote their lives to an Eldritch Master, no? That which lives in the realm beyond reaches across space and time, darkness and starlight, to open our minds to the incomprehensible, to share with us their eyes which see what we cannot. To live is to struggle, and to sire more who will struggle. to perpetuate the pain, but to ascend is to provide oneself with an end. Not to break the moral cycle, but to rise above it. Perhaps she notices the growing look of concern on my face, or simply realizes she's drawn on for far too long. But that light in her eyes fades for the typical stony demeanor again. I, of course, speak academically. Conceptually, we live in a time where the masters of our pacts slumber deeply, and such concepts must be treated as philosophy, not scripture. Of course, Tree. As you say, in any case, it is likely much of what I've read has been exaggerated anyway. Or the information has degraded through the generations. По-скоро, защото тя го казва. Initiates to this place were said to walk the halls of this temple as a matter of right, as a way to determine those worthy to view its heart. But this place is in ruins, and we've walked more than our share. More than our share is putting it mildly. We've been walking in circles for hours now. Every corner, every hole, every dead end, perhaps it's dark, or drumming pain in my head. It's dark or the drumming pain in my head, but I swear they are all starting to look the same. Unless... 3. What were the details of this ritual? The details? Yes, were the instructions that were given to the initiates. What were the instructions? I mean, at your feet lay all preconception. At our door leave all the pride. Yours is a vessel lost and lowly, called to seek our master in such fate which is blind. Could it really be that easy? 3. I think we should close our eyes. This is hardly the time to rest. No, not like a nap. Those instructions, I think they're a riddle. Seek our master in such fate which is blind. Yes, I take your meaning. Very well, I suppose we haven't anything to lose. My thoughts exactly. I close my eyes. I feel Tree's light touch on my shoulder and the damp atmosphere of the maze. And then... something cold. Something very cold and very bright, like the sun just outside my tightly shut eyelids. Do you feel that? I do. Let us move toward it. We creep toward a strange and stark chill. My flesh begins to tingle, my every muscle and appendage has fallen asleep. And as we press deeper, my legs collapse beneath the weight of sudden exhaustion. I open my eyes to find us in a large open chamber. The chamber is cold and thick with mist. Here the roots of the vacuous tree become so thick it is nearly impossible to navigate without brushing the vile things. There is a forked path. To our right a stairway leads up, and by the feel of the draft I suspect it's an entrance into the forbidden wing from which we fell. Ecstatic, I start quickly up the stairs, only to be held back by an unmoving weight. 3 stairs off in the opposite direction. Down the darkling chamber to the pair of the stone doors at its end. She's frozen, sheet white like a ghost. And when my eyes set upon those same doors, a fierce pull strikes my bones like a sledgehammer to the brittle rock. It plants in me a fear, a fierce and primal fear. 3, let's go! I speak on reflex. My voice is more than shaky, but she doesn't move. In fact, she pulls. Tree begins to pull me toward the far off doors. The fire in my blood alights, and I feel presence of the temporal fires. They scream at me to flee. I yank Tree back hard. She blinks, then looks me dazedly in my eyes. It's time to go. Of course, you're right. We ascend the stairs in hurried but stone-cold silence. They lead up into the forbidden wing again, and by the time we find ourselves back into the Enfell seal, the night is very late. We part ways, promising not to tell anyone else of what adventures, of our adventure for fear of bringing trouble upon ourselves. But when my head hits the pillow, I find myself far from being relaxed enough to sleep. That place, that cold, horrible place. Something stirs beneath Glomrod. Something that must never awake. Но ще се пробуди най-вероятно следващите епизоди.